Welcome back to Learning with Dogs. My name's Kristen, this is Ringo, and today we're going to work on one of the most important lessons I think a puppy should learn in their early development, and that's a leave it command. For me, leave it is something that the dog should never ever touch. That means things like food that it's not in their toys or their food bowl. They shouldn't just be going around and eating food that they find around. Definitely things like shoes, babies' toys, that kind of stuff. We don't want our dogs just walking around chewing anything they want. So teaching your dog a leave it can actually be a really fun experience for them because we use it as we put a positive twist on it and make it a fun thing for the dog to ignore the object and get a treat. So when I do a leave it lesson with the dog, I want to make sure, because remember I said when I say leave it means you may never ever touch that object. That should not belong in your mouth. So we would do this with power cords around the house, anything that you do not want your dog to ever touch, we'll do leave it lessons with. So if let's say I dropped my treat bag on the floor, it's all full of pill pockets, this is something he absolutely could eat, but it's not something I want him to eat just because he could eat it. Does that make sense? So he shouldn't do it just because he can. If he finds this bag, maybe fell off the shelf, and he comes into the room, this shouldn't be something that he just is like, those are my treats, I think I'm gonna eat that. So we can help set up boundaries with our puppies by reinforcing a solid leave it command. So we want to make sure when we're doing the training session that they don't ever succeed at getting the object, because then we backpedal a lot when they're like, well, if I just rush faster, then I can make sure I get it. So we want to make sure they don't succeed. So I'm starting out with this in a bag because I know he can't get it out of the bag. He's going to be very interested in it. It smells delicious. I can maybe even open it a tiny crack so he can smell it even better. But he knows what's in here. He's seen me pull treats out of this. It's a very exciting thing, but it's not something he should interact with. So what we're going to do is a counter conditioning behavior of he sees this and his response should be to look up at me and see what I need from him. And from that moment, I'll say, good boy, and I'll give him a treat as soon as he makes contact with me. So I'm going to do a demo, and then from there, I'll narrate what's happening. Hey, Ringo, let's go, buddy. Let's go. Good boy. Good boy. Let's go, Ringo. Let's go. Good boy. He's very focused on me, so he is not. Ringo, leave it. Ringo, leave it. Good. As soon I repeat the word, his name and the word, until he looks at me. Ringo, good boy, let's go. He's being super easy. Most of the time, the dog is very excited about trying to get to that object. Let's go, buddy. Let's go. Good boy. Let's go. Let's go. Ringo, let's go. Good boy. He's trying to figure out what I'm doing. It's like, I'm paying attention to you. I'm gonna make it a little more enticing. I'm gonna open it and just kind of lay it on its side. Again, I don't want him to succeed at getting it. Ringo, leave it. Ringo, leave it. Good boy. So I'm not pulling on his harness, but I am applying a brake. Ringo, leave it. Leave it. Ringo, good boy. As soon as he looks at me, I say good boy and give him that treat. So I want him to fully disconnect from that object. I don't want him to sit and stare at me. I want him to fully disconnect. Ringo, leave it. Ringo, leave it. Good. Good boy. So I don't care if he's sitting or standing. Right there, he's disconnected from the object that he wanted when I asked him to leave it. Let's go, buddy. Let's go, Ringo. Good boy. Good, leave it. So once he starts understanding this game, and we can walk past this object. Good boy, Ringo. What a good leave it. Good boy. He still knows that that bag is there. He still knows it smells like treats. Ringo, leave it. good boy. But when we walk by it, he's choosing not to interact with it and instead stay engaged with me. And I think that's an incredibly important thing to remember when we're working with our dogs. There are moments that we need to reward them for choosing the right behavior on their own. And it's so subtle because the dog is actually behaving and doing what we want. If there's ever, Ringo, leave it. Leave it. Good boy. Good boy. If there's ever a moment in your mind where you're like, holy smokes, he didn't go after that, you need to immediately reward your puppy. Give them reward for not going after it, otherwise your puppy will start to train you. I've seen lots of dogs, Ringo, leave it, good boy, who will start the process of diving for something and then quickly looking up at their person to see if they can get that treat. So we don't want our puppy to start manipulating the system. Come here, buddy. Good boy. I'm gonna pick him up because it's not fair for him to have to stand next to that treat bag when he can't have it, and I'm not 100% focused on him. So always remember, set your puppies up for success, and if you can't give them the attention they need in that moment, then do something different. Whether you put them in a crate or pick them up like I am right now, it makes it easier so that you don't end up with a frustrated puppy that starts acting out. When they get frustrated, that's when they get naughty. That's when they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And they try to offer other things, and then it makes you frustrated and it turns into a snowball of bad events. Versus here, I knew that he was going to get frustrated because I already told him to leave that. It's full of treats. In fact, the same treat that I was feeding him during the training. So he's like, I want that. Why can't I have that? And he's still learning what leave it means. So for me to leave him next to it would just be kind of unfair. So I just pick him up. I prevent the battle because I know that it's something that he would likely protest. So in my attempt to just prevent it, I pick him up. If I don't have the ability to pick him up, I could have put him on a tether or in a crate because I, at that moment, was not able to pay attention to him. So always make sure you're aware of that kind of stuff too when you're working with your puppy. There's so much to think about, but really just having fun with them and giving them the opportunity to be in your space but under control. That's really the goal. So I'm gonna pick up those treats there so he doesn't have to stare at those anymore. But leave it is an important lesson. We want to get to the point where when you say leave it, your puppy instantly turns his head and looks up at you. That's when you know you have a dog that understands what you're asking and he's able to disconnect from the thing that's distracting him. So keep having fun with your dog. Give them lots of experiences, lots of opportunities to leave different objects. Move around your house if you see your puppy chewing on something. Use it as an opportunity to do a leave it lesson. So have fun with your dog, do lots of fun training, and we'll see you next time on Learning with Dogs. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon.